I hate you, cameras. I hate you so much.
Let's get started.
Okay. Today, welcome to the 10th class, I think, of happy, salty, happy, fun, Norse culture. Today, we're going to be talking about the Norsemen's, the Vikings' daily lives. Now, the average life of a Viking is actually very boring. Very, very boring. Basically, most people were farmers. Right? They worked on ranch and stuff. They make just enough food to achieve they live at a subsistent level. That means they make just enough food to survive. They usually live in rural areas and produce their own goods, so they're somewhat self-sufficient. Now, work was divided between men and women. Women worked inside the house. They produced clothes. They cooked food. Most of the food they cooked was the ones that we know of is pretty bland. Just hard bread, basically. But they're very good at making alcohol.
Was it salty?
I hope not. And they also milked sheep and cows. Now, an interesting fact is that Vikings, they would usually keep their livestock inside their houses to stay warm. So they'll just milk them in the house. Now, men work outside the house, because they're farmers. They plant the seeds, they rake the land, etc. Now here's the more interesting thing. Now Viking drinks mead and beer. Now mead is basically fermented honey juice. I wanted to brew mead with you guys. Let me teach you how. Basically, mead, 蜂蜜酒. You got the mead. You get a large glass container, a large jar. You put honey in there, 1 liter. I don't know. Just put a lot of honey in there. Put some water. Mix them. Let it cook for 3 weeks or something. You put some yeast in there, and then you sift them. Basically, so you let them dry for a month or so, and you can add some flavors. You can add some nuts in there. You can add some orange peels, whatever, and that's how you make mead. It's just really sweet wine. I need mead. I need mead. Not whatever your salty biscuit cracker seafaring stuff was. Oh my God.
It was urine if you didn't get the memo.
Oh my God. That's what urine tastes like?
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, let's move on.
Anyway, the beer was made from ground barley. So it was like wheat, like wheat juice. The Vikings, they also drank fruit wine. It's like a thicker version of juice, but not as thick as mainland Europe wine. So they basically had really strong tasting apple juice and grape juice and stuff like that. They didn't know how to make real wine, so wine that was later introduced to Scandinavia, it became a symbol of wealth. If you have wine, you're wealthy. That's basically it. Drinks were commonly served in drinking horns. So the movies got that one right. They have a drinking horn, right? But the cups, you can't put them down. I think I talked about this. You can't put the cups down because they're horns and they're going to spill out. So the Viking tradition is that you need to empty your entire horn before you put it down. So it's basically the same as ganbei, except more literally. Now they also had cups, glass cups and oak, low oak things, but those are for the posh folks. Anyway, food. Ah, yes, very nice. the Vikings eat 2 meals a day, one in the morning and one at night. They don't have any cooking utensils. No, they don't have any eating utensils to eat. So they usually just grab the food and stuff in their mouth. You know, but they do have spoons. Bro, I've seen Norse spoons. They're do I have it? No. Norse spoons, usually, a spoon would be dented, in there. There would be a curve. But bro, Viking spoons, it's just a thin little curve, man. It's almost like a plate, So you just, I don't know how they drank from that. They grew 6-row barley. Now 6-row barley is different from 2-row barley because it produces more and it's easier to harvest basically. Okay. Go ahead. The Vikings, they also baked bread with 6-row barley. However, they didn't have yeast. They didn't have the 酵母 thing. They didn't have the 酵母 thing. So they're hard. So their bread is hard as rock, man. So they had to bake it immediately before they eat. So they just bake it, they take it out, they just start munching it. Because it's gonna go so hard, man. And they would usually make bread into buns, into mantou shaped things. Like that. And they also mix other ingredients with their bread. They mix grounded pine barks to dust. So they would take tree barks, then they would sawmill it and stuff, and they would mix the sawdust with their bread. Oh my God, it's so salty. And made into an ingredient. Now, so they're basically stuck with this weird tree bread thing. Now this tree bread thing is actually really good, and it's still made today because grounded pine bars, they can actually prevent you from contacting sorts of diseases from really humid places. Now, because they only had they didn't have yeast, so imported white bread became a luxury, So the more bread you have, the more money you have. Get it? Because bread means money. Anyway, so they get the Vikings. They get their proteins and calcium from meat, fish, and cow, and sheep milk. Their most common food is cod and herring. Salted herring and dried cod. That's basically it. They also ate fresh water fish, but it's not really important. So, yeah. Now, the Vikings, because they work on farms, right? They'll domesticate pigs and sheep and cows and cattle and whatever. So they would usually kill all their farm animals before a winter. So they don't need to feed them anymore because, again, the Vikings live at a subsistent level, They hardly have enough to feed themselves. So they'll just kill all the animals, store the meat, eat some, I guess, but sell most of them the next year for money to buy new livestock, basically. They hunted seabirds, seals, whales, hares, rabbits, wild boar, elk, and deer. Now, in the anime, there's the scene where the girl throws a harpoon at a whale. That's accurate. They used seal oil as blubber. So these are naturalists, I guess. Now, they used slaves to build them stuff. However, it's not really oh, I got slaves. That means I'm a wealthy man. I got stuff. The Viking lifestyle was too salty. The Viking lifestyle is too salty. You can see this. This is not good. The Viking lifestyle isn't minimalist. they're just pure poor. You know, they're just poor as.
What did you say?
So 30 to 40% of them would die before reaching like adulthood. You know, so if me and Ray and Jerry and Karis grew up, Ray's probably gonna die before he reaches adulthood. You know?
Thank you so much.
Okay. So yeah, they're just poor, man. When you think of Vikings, you know, you got the stereotype where they're like giant, like beast men wear like horned helmets and like full of gold and stuff, but actually no, that's like 1%. Most of them just poor farmers, man. You know, because they're poor when they're in Europe, they're still poor right now. The end.
That's all?
Yeah.